Welcome to the Shootin The Que podcast, presented by Heath Riles BBQ, with tips, tricks, and an inside look with some of the top pitmasters in the game. Now here's your host, Heath Riles.
All right, we're back. Today we're joined with our good friend, Rick from Three Taxi Guys. How you doing, Rick?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Good to see you.
Man, for everybody that don't know you, Rick, can you tell a little bit of your history and how you got into barbecue?
Sure.
And kind of what barbecue means to you now?
Sure, absolutely. So I had a brother-in-law when we were in high school, 14 years old, suggested that we cook a hog. And I always was intrigued with hog cooking, and I always wanted to do it. And I said, sure, let's give it a try, So started cooking a few hogs here or there. And once you start cooking them, somebody wants to cook a whole hog. They know you've done it before. They'd always ask, hey, can you come help me cook a hog? So we cooked a bunch of hogs that way. And so we knew a little something about doing it because we'd done it. Well, so I'm in the taxi cab business. I own Checker Cab in Atlanta, and I've been going to these taxi cab conventions for years and years. And I had two friends. One is Jamie Campalong in Pittsburgh, and the other one's John Lazar, who owned Luxor Cab in San Francisco. And we went to these conventions, stayed in the hotel, went to all these great places. And we're always busy going to meetings. I was the president of the association in 08 and 09. Jamie was the president after that. We tried to get John in there, couldn't get John in there. But we were all in the hierarchy of this, 100-year-old taxi cab association. So we all figured out I could cook hogs, and they had a love for barbecue. Jamie's Italian, so he's always cooking something. He loves making sauces and rubs and just, that was kind of his forte, I guess. So they asked me, he said, well, look, I'm going to have a Daytona 500 party in Pittsburgh, and I want you to come cook one of those hogs for me. I said, okay. So he sent me a plane ticket. I flew to Pittsburgh, cooked a hog for him, and he said, man, this is great. We should sell this sauce you make, And I said, well, everybody tastes sauce a lot. They like it, I've been using the same sauce for years. And so he said, well, I'm going to produce some bottles, and we're going to play with it a little bit. I said, okay, produce them. Here's the recipe. So he did. Went to a taxi cab convention, and we said, we're going to do a test market. And we give it to all the taxi guys. And, of course, everybody loved it, 100. I said, well, it may not be a good, source because all those guys love us, and they're going to, we can give them dog shit, they'd say it was good, So he said, let's do some better testing than that. So we found the National Barbecue Association, and we started attending a meeting and submitted our sauce. Well, first time we won first place. First time we put a sauce in the.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And we got a ribbon and a medal, Well, we were,
That was
we were
it.
hooked then, So we said, well, let's produce this, some, and, we use it in our own cooks or whatever for now and see if we can sell some. So we did, made a few bottles, and it's, it's a tough go, as you well know.
Oh, yeah.
So then we decided, well, first of all, we need to know what these judges like. So we all became judges and judged for a few years. I probably judged 50 contests in that 2-year period, So I learned a little something about what judges liked. And at that point, he said, well, maybe we should do, cooking a couple of these competitions, and it'll be a good way to promote the sauce, And I said, well, yeah, that sounds like fun. Let's do one, So, and we didn't have the BBQ at that point. You'll learn what the BBQ is in a minute. But so anyway, we went. We did terrible, We just came in dead ass last, I think, the first 2 times. Or maybe a couple from last, but we didn't do very well. What I really learned when I started cooking professionally was how much I was screwing them up in the past, So it doesn't take long to hang around Heath Riles and some other names where you don't learn a few things, and you learn how to better, cook barbecue. So we learned quick and met a lot of friends. We're friendly people, and met a lot of people like yourself, and so that's how we kind of got in the middle of it, Well, then we know Brad down at the shed, and we liked what he was doing.
So how did you initially meet Brad from going to that?
I went down to Ocean Springs on vacation, bellied up the bar and ordered a beer, and Brad come up and sit beside me in a straw hat. Started asking me questions about who I was and what I was doing, and we instantly, connected. And I guess Brad probably in the barbecue world if I have a best friend in the barbecue world, it's probably Brad. And we're kindred spirits, you know, and we like to have fun. And anybody knows Brad knows that he likes to have fun.
No doubt about that. No doubt
So,
about
and he's a character, you know. So I'm a character, so we got along great. And so he, of course, invited me to come cook with him. So I cooked on his team the first year. He won the whole hog. Well, then I was, you know, matter of fact, I made up these T-shirts and said, 3 taxi guys in the shed, winners. And we won the first year cooking with him. So I cooked with him the next year and then told him, look, I want to start my own team. You know, I got Jamie and John and we're doing the sauce. But I've got to have a cooker made out of a taxi cab like your Jeep, you know. And well, no problem, we can get that done. And he drew it on a napkin, put it up on his bulletin board. About a year, maybe year and a half later, I get a call from a producer saying, look, we're doing a show called The Shed. And Brad he can't tell me he's doing a show, so I didn't know. And I said, well, Brad, he said, yeah. I said, well, Brad's a good friend of mine. I didn't know he was doing a show. He said, well, he's, you know, it's kind of under wrap. He said, but we understand you want to build a cab or a smoker out of a taxi cab. I said, well, yeah, I do. But I got 2 problems. 2 partners that probably aren't willing and no budget. He said, well, that's a major problem. I said, I know. And so I made a deal with him. I said, look, if I can talk to the other 2 partners, it was going to cost $20,000 to build that BBQ. And I said, I'll put in 5. I'll talk the partners into doing it, and you'll have to put in 5. Oh no, you know, that's not going to happen. And they think they offered me $1,000. I said, well, we're not going to build a smoker on your show. A couple of days later, I get a call. Okay, we found the 5,000. Can we build the smoker? I said, I'll have it down there next week. I put it in my, it's been in my junkyard for about 15 years. So the BBQ is a 1978 Checker Marathon. It ran in my fleet in Atlanta for about 10 years. Had 780,000 miles on it. Wow. And then we put it in the junkyard. You know, sat in the junkyard probably for 15 years. And if you don't know what that is, it's a synonymous New York cab from the old days. You know, big tank car built especially for the cab industry. We probably had 40 of them in our fleet at one time. And then they quit making them in 1982. So you couldn't, you know, it got hard to get parts. So we went on to Crown Vics and Chevrolet Caprice and all that in the cab business. But anyway, we had the old cab. So I got my guys to kind of muster garage it, stripped it down, took everything out, took the motor, took the transmission out, stripped all the upholstery out of it, and I put it on the wrecker and hauled it down to Ocean Springs. And they start building it on the show, you know. As a matter of fact, it was their most popular show called Smokin Taxi on the Food Network, The Shed. You can look it up and watch it. You'll see me. I didn't like my presence on it too much, you know how that goes, but we had fun doing it. And so watch the show and you'll kind of see what process we went to do it, you know. So we did it, and the first contest we did was Praise the Lord in Murfreesboro. And the deal I made with Brad is you got to bring Hobbs to show me how to work this damn thing the first time we do it. So he did. And
I was right across from you.
Yeah,
Was that 2013,
2013?
2012?
That's about right, 2012, 2013, I think. So that's the first time we used the BBQ in that contest. It was a double contest. You know, we've done 2 or 3 contests before that and cooked with the Shed, but it wore us out, man. I mean, it beat us up, and we didn't do very well. Which is not a reflection on
Who
Hobson.
won that contest?
That's a good question. Who did win that contest?
I think I did.
I think you did too. Go figure, you know. Well, let me tell you something. I've competed against Heath for a long time. I can't beat Heath, you know.
No, yes, you can. I'm not nowhere near as good as I used to be. I used to be really hyper-focused. I'm not anymore.
Yeah. Well, I know. You focus on other things, and that's what happens when we get older, you know. You have to.
That's right.
But anyway, we had fun, and we had a hook. So after we didn't do well a couple contests, I finally had a meeting with all the guys and I said, look, okay, we got a hook, great. Now we got to concentrate on the cook. We got to get it tasting good. Competition style, we're never going to do shit. We're not going to reach our goal of promoting the sauces and rubs. So we really got serious about it. I had a friend that used to compete against Myron, Smokin Willie. You know,
Yeah.
you know Smokin Willie, old time Southern Georgia guy that I befriended a long time ago at the pig jig, way before I was cooking. I used to go judge the pig jig for about 4 or 5 years. And I met Smokin Willie, just a character,
He's a
wearing
good guy.
overall, good guy. And he said, well, you come cook with me. I said, okay. So went and cooked with Willie, and we developed the rub, the injection I still use today. A few changes over the years, but for the most part, the same one me and Willie worked on. And he helped me with the sauces and rubs a little bit, because he very, very good, competitive, cooker. So we got better, we got better. When finally went ourselves to Memphis, did okay the first time, top 20, which we were very proud to do. And finally we cooked it 3 or 4 times and ended up coming in second, right behind Myron one time. And we finished second, third, fifth, sixth, eighth, ninth.
I mean,
so we've done pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I would consider that really good, especially at a world championship with that caliber of cookers. I mean, y'all got in there and figured it out. And the type of hog that you cook is really unique to its style.
It is. And, as soon as I saw that standing hog, running hog, some people call it, I fell in love with that. I said, no, that's neat. And that's kind of hog, it's a show hog. And, of course, Brad's figured out how to get it to taste pretty good. It took a lot of pointers from him, but really ours is a little different than what Brad does because of Smokin Willie. So, but we still use what we developed. It's worked well for us. And you know how it is. You try to change a little bit according to where you're at, but for the most part, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
We're cooking a hog today for the Royal Oak Invitational. Same hog, same injection. So everybody will get to taste it and see if they like it or not. And most people do. It's a good hog, and it looks beautiful.
Well, good. I can't wait to try it.
Yeah.
I remember when I don't remember how we initially first met. I don't know if it was
The NBBQ maybe?
NBBQ.
Yeah. That's the first time I met you. The
And-
first convention we went to.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then turned around after that, and I don't remember if Galax was next where y'all were there filming with the shed.
Yes.
And we wound up on an episode of the
Yes.
shed.
Yep.
Remember that?
Briefly.
Yeah, it was briefly, but
And then I was on the phone with you for something, and we were going to the World Food Championships. And I said, do you want to come to Vegas? And he's like, man, that would be badass. And I'm like, well, it's in 3 days. And you were like, well, let me call you back.
you had to ask the boss.
You called me back 2 minutes later and said, I'm in. Where did y'all get a room at? I told you, and then I didn't talk to you anymore.
And you showed up.
And then here you come with a backpack on your backpack, walking up in a parking lot.
And helped us the whole
4
time.
days later, I mean,
Yeah.
and you did. You helped us the whole time.
We had a little fun. Well, let me tell you, I cook a good brisket. People like my brisket, and Heath the one that taught me how to cook brisket. So
It was cold that morning out there in Las Vegas.
it was, but we had fun. How can you not have fun in Vegas? But it was a lot of work.
We got some stories we can't tell on this.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, it was a good time.
But we had fun.
I mean,
And that always flattered you asked me, hey, I got Heath out, asked me to go cook with him. And he says, well, go, you should go. So I
always a
did.
good time.
It was fun.
So talking about Memphis, y'all have been all over the board, and you're continuing on in the cab business. I mean, I know a lot of that's changed over the years.
It has.
So what is y'all's ultimate goal for Three Taxi Guys? Just keep cooking and having a good time and
Yeah,
just
well, I don't know if we've ever been known as a party team, but we do party. We like to have fun. We drink a few beers, and we're very friendly, and everybody likes us. Most people like us. So we have a lot of fun at the events, and they're all our friends. Just how that goes. But I've got 2 sons that have shown an interest, and they've cooked with us the last 4 or 5 years, and they're learning. And they have some interest in carrying on the Three Taxi Guys. They like what they see, and so we're trying to train them to do it so we don't have to anymore, We can sit back and point,
ain't nothing wrong with that.
So if I hadn't had the 2 boys' interest, Three Taxi Guys probably just would have rode off to the sunset, But I think we have an opportunity to prolong it a little bit because of them, and they're learning, and they're very interested in it, and they're getting pretty good at it. So we'll see what happens.
So do y'all have plans to go back to Murfreesboro again?
Absolutely, we really hated missing it this year.
We missed it
We
too for the
missed it
first time.
also.
We've competed there 10 times probably, and the last year we did compete, we did pretty good. We took home a first pork, fifth ribs, I think, and fourth place hog. Did
Y'all
final.
usually are finals in hog and something
Yeah,
else.
yeah,
One or two.
yeah.
We're usually right across from each other. And,
Yeah, oh yeah.
you know, I used to cook all the categories, and the last couple times I went, I think I only cooked ribs. You know,
You
but
smartened up.
well, you know, I love cooking whole hog, but I just don't have it in me like I used to, Rick, to cook as
Well,
many as I have.
I mean, as everybody know, whole hog's a totally different game. I mean, it's
It's a lot of
usually
work.
150, 200-pound animal, so you can't do it by yourself. You and your wife can't do it physically. Of course, you know.
I have,
We can
but it
always step
hurts.
across the street and help. We have on several occasions, but it's tough to do.
It really is.
It's
It's
just
a lot
tough.
of
The
a lot
worst
of
part.
prep, a lot of long cooking, and a lot of cleanup.
Well,
Right.
that's the worst part.
But
You said the
ribs, you
cleanup.
get 2 containers, one big cooler, and
Yeah,
you can do
exactly.
ribs, So
That's right.
that's just a smart progression, I think.
Exactly.
And
Right.
hey, anybody who's ever had your ribs understand why you do ribs. They are fantastic.
I mean, I really tried to focus in on the ribs just because, I mean, you can go cook 6 or 8 racks somewhere, and that's all you
Well,
got to cook.
Heath always cracks me up. I'll tell you everything. Then you got to cook it.
Well, I mean, you know, that's a
And
lot
you're
of
not going to
people.
cook it better than me.
A lot.
And
You
you
got to
can't.
nail. You got to nail tenderness.
You just can't.
I tell everybody that you have to nail tenderness.
Yeah. So for years, Heath will tell you, I always say, hey, man, I need a rib lesson. Okay, come on over, no problem.
I don't have any secrets.
I'll tell you everything. And he does.
As a matter of fact, you know, I was telling somebody yesterday, it's time for me to shoot a competition series of videos, and I'm not going to charge for them.
Just
I'm
let
gonna
them
turn
have
them
it.
out. They're gonna run wild, just like the
Buy
horses
one
do.
sauce
gonna
and
light the
one
internet
rub,
on
and
fire.
I'll give you these videos.
I'm gonna light. I'm gonna burn the internet down with them.
I love it. I
We gonna
love it.
shoot and shoot and shoot, and I'm
So
gonna
The
do
internet will
everything.
smell like smoke when Heath gets through.
at one time, I don't know if you guys are still doing this. At one time, you guys had a wing sauce,
Yeah.
and you had like the little cab where you could get the
Oh, the
different
gift set.
stuff in
The
it.
gift set. Yeah.
Is that still
Yeah, we still
around?
have all of that. Um,
I
you know,
liked the wing sauce a lot. I
well,
don't know.
the wing sauce is good. The way I make my living is in the cab business.
Right.
The cab business the last 10 years been pretty tough. We had the Uber and Lyft thing. They kind of cut us in half, and then the pandemic hit. That cut us in half again. And we're building back. Cab businesses will be around when Uber's a fond memory, I assure you. But hiring drivers now is a real challenge. We can't get up to the numbers because we can't hire drivers. So we're working on that. We've been in my business. My granddad started in 1947 with one car. He got it up to about 100 cars. My dad took over, ran it for 40 years, got it up to about 150, 180 cars. And then I took over. We got up to 220 cars. We were doing great, knocking it out. And Uber and Lyft came in and robbed everybody as far as I'm concerned. So I don't like Uber and Lyft too much. And I take a hard line. If you don't want to get raped, robbed, or murdered, don't take Uber. Take a taxi because it's a lot safer. And that's a hard line, but I truly believe that.
I mean, that's
tough.
it is tough.
Yeah.
So you never take an Uber in the city. You always take cabs, right?
No, ain't no way I'm getting in an Uber. I have taken Lyft out of necessity. But Uber came in really ugly and did some really ugly things. I fought them. I spent $500,000 fighting them in Atlanta. And I'd go to meetings and I'd have one lobbyist and one lawyer. They'd have 7 or 8 lobbyists and 4 or 5 lawyers at every meeting. So they're just spending money. It's a company that, capital venture money, using somebody else's money, and they spend the hell out of it, and you can't compete with that. So it was tough. And we got our ass handed to us for the most part. 'Cause what's unique about Uber wasn't their app, it wasn't, what they did. What it was is to come into a city that's regulated and totally ignore them and not ask permission, ask forgiveness after they've done it. And then they'd put political pressure on everybody to not, don't mess with us, leave us alone, or otherwise they were inundated with about 10,000 calls from their customers that were all social media people. So that puts real pressure on political entities. We're not going to vote for you if you don't let Uber operate. It's all that kind of crap. And we felt that wasn't playing fair ball, you know, because we'd been in the industry forever. We'd followed all the rules, and bought all the permits, and felt like we'd done things the way you're supposed to do. And they came in
And then
ignored
somebody
all.
else come in and just,
So what they taught us is don't ask permission. Don't follow the rules. Just do what the hell you want and let the chips fall where they're back. So we do a lot more of that these days because it's allowed now, you know. So like I said, we'll be around a long time. 76 years is a long time to be in business. My sons are interested. That'll be the fourth generation of Hewatts and cab business in Atlanta, and I'm proud of that.
well, Rick, I'm glad to call you a friend and glad we met years ago because
Absolutely.
we've had an ongoing relationship for well over 10 years now.
Yeah, 14,
Yeah,
14,
14.
15 years. Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's always a good time when we catch up with each other.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Always. Well, look, thank you for coming on the show today,
Continued
talking to
success to both
everybody,
of you.
and we always love shooting the que with good friends.
Absolutely, I'm with you.
All right, we are back, and we're here today with our good friend Bill Gillespie of Smokin Hoggz. How you doing today, Bill?
Good, Heath. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Man, it's another one of those days. You know, it's been a little rough over here. Y'all just got done turning in a contest, of
Yeah,
course.
yep.
And so my first question would be, how did your cook go?
I thought it went pretty well. Chicken wasn't the chicken I'm normally used to cooking, but it tasted good. Ribs and pork were good. Brisket, I thought I had a pretty decent brisket. So we'll see. You know, it's
How the
out of
dice
my
falls.
control, right?
That's right.
It's up to the judges right now. So.
Well, for the people that don't know Bill, why don't you tell everybody about who you are, how you got into barbecue, and kind of about Smokin Hoggz, how y'all got started, and what all you do now?
Sure. So Bill Gillespie, Smokin Hoggz out of Boston, Massachusetts. I've been competing since 2005. Started cooking at a young age. I was in the Boy Scouts, learning to cook over an open fire. Cooking in the backyard with my dad on an old cruddy charcoal grill with a ton of lighter fluid. And just kind of learning that way. And as I get older, go camping with friends, cook over an open fire again. I would always bring my grill. I was the one cooking. I had season tickets for the football games back home. Again, I was the one cooking at the tailgates, it's just a passion for me. And I don't see an end at all, They'll probably bury me with a set of tongs in my hands.
That's right. Well, then you can't click them no more.
That's right. Yeah.
You got to test
I'll
click.
have to get them automated. So when in the grave, all you hear is a click every now and then, right?
That's right. So how did you find your way into competition barbecue?
So I worked for a company. A couple guys were into cooking. They invited me to go to a contest. There were 4 standard meats for KCBS, and there was a 5th category. I was down in Cape Cod. They said anything with cranberries. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll tag along. So I did a grilled salmon with like a cranberry glaze. Took 4th place, and that was my hook. It just
Everybody has one.
right, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Everybody's like that.
Totally. Like 4th place. I mean, we won maybe $15, right? But I'm like, I don't care. This is awesome. Yeah. So that was my falling in love with competition barbecue right there.
That is pretty cool. So how did the Smokin Hoggz come about?
So I was on a couple different teams, starting in 2005. 2008, I was ready to go out on my own, sitting around trying to figure out a name. One of my buddies was like, how about a pig riding an offset like a motorcycle, Smokin Hoggz? I'm like, yeah, that's cool. And that's kind of how Smokin Hoggz started. Yeah, we did one contest in 2008, took a 5th place in brisket, and just been going strong ever since.
So after that first trophy win, within the next year's time, can you say you spent over 10 grand on barbecue equipment?
Oh God, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was full into it, because at the time, I'm like, wow, I have to buy all this stuff now, because before everybody kind of had a little bit of something. So now it's like, okay, now I got to buy extra tables, and I got to buy a couple more smokers, another canopy, and pretty soon we looked like the Beverly Hillbillies driving down the road with a pickup truck full.
I think that's how we all started,
I
though.
think so, yeah.
And do you ever miss that sometimes?
Sometimes, and we were doing it for a while. Every year we would go up to upstate New York to Lake Placid. And if you've ever been up that way, there's a lot of mountainous roads, long and windy, narrow. And I didn't want to bring a trailer, so we would just load everything in the back of the truck. And we did that up until a couple of years ago, until I got a smaller utility trailer. And it was just to, kind of stay to your roots, right?
That's right. And I find myself now, I've been through all the big trailers.
Yep.
And now I catch myself downsizing. I built a smaller one.
That's exactly.
And I sold it.
Yeah.
And I think I went from a 40-foot gooseneck when I built my way up to it,
Yep.
a 42-foot. And then I went to a 30-foot, and then I went to a 28-foot.
That's what I'm doing now.
And then I went to a
Yep.
26-foot. I sold it to Carrie Chastain.
Yep.
And I just had a new 20-foot with, or it's actually 22-foot that I had built. And I cooked on it once in Memphis in May.
Yep.
Darren Wharf just bought it.
I heard about that.
And
yeah.
now I'm in the process of building an 18-foot. I cut 4 more foot off. So
Yeah.
I don't, talk about going back to your roots. I'm trying to find something to fit in a parking place is what I want
Yes,
to say.
That's
I don't
right.
need nothing any bigger.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if you saw my trailer out there. That's my smaller one. I have a 35-foot gooseneck at home that I'm trying to sell. Somebody will buy it eventually, But yeah, we're just kind of scaling back a little bit. Not that the big trailer is not good. It's great because I can cook in a monsoon because it's all buttoned up. But it's just, I just
Too
wanna-
much
Yeah.
to haul around, set up,
Yeah.
tear down, gas stations, more fuel.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people don't realize, oh, you're in that comfort. But man,
But
there is so much that goes along with
There
that.
is, yeah. Pulling into a truck stop. Now I can pull into a smaller gas station because I have a smaller trailer. And yeah, it's the evolution, I guess, right? You kind of start here, you go up, and you start coming back down.
That's
So,
exactly it.
yeah.
Well, let me ask this.
Yeah.
How many contests are you going to do a year? How many do you really normally do a year?
We do, I'd say average around 20, maybe 25 sometimes. The most we ever did was 29. And it's just the region I'm in, there's not too many. So we find ourselves traveling down to Pennsylvania, New Jersey. Pennsylvania's a good 8-hour ride for us. And just getting out of the Northeast can be tough,
Yeah.
So vacation time comes into play, so I have to be selective on what events we do and stuff like that.
So how long did it take you to get here to Georgia?
Oh, 18, 19 hours. Yeah, it's
Long haul.
yeah. 2 days. We break it up into 2 days down, 2 days back, and
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're having to take off basically several days just to come
Right.
cook this event.
yeah, we did the Jack last weekend. We were able to bring the trailer down. It was only about 3.5 hours away. Flew home on the Sunday, flew back down Wednesday night, and now we're gonna drive home tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's definitely a love and a passion.
I was gonna say it's a love-hate, right?
It is a
and
love-hate.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
always a great trip. We were talking about this earlier. It's a great trip going.
Yes.
And it seems like it's twice as long trying to get back home.
Yeah, you're like, oh, just get me home.
That's
Yeah.
it.
I said to my wife, can we just fly home? Just leave the trailer down here and just fly home, and I'll pick it up some other time.
What'd she say? No.
She's like, well, she started thinking about it. She's like, no, we got to bring it back.
Well, as much as you come to this part of the area, Bill, you
know.
should leave a smaller
we've
equipped
been-
trailer down this
We've been
way.
thinking about it, There's more events down this way. I'm getting to meet a lot more people down this way, so I'm, all the, new friends, and yeah, it's just, it's, the community, right? It's just.
Well, nobody retires up north, right? That's what
No,
that's
that's
the
right.
saying, right?
That's right.
When
Nobody
you retire, everybody's coming south. That's what
That's
you say.
right.
So have you got retirement plans one of these days to move this way?
Yeah, we're looking. In 10 years, when I hit 61, I can retire from my day job. And we're looking, I want to stay near the water, maybe the Carolinas or something. We haven't really decided yet. We need to kind of explore the area and find out what we like.
Yeah. Well, I know y'all have some barbecue products as well.
Yeah, we
So
do.
tell us about
Yeah.
your barbecue
So
products.
I've got 3 dry rubs and a barbecue sauce. One of my rubs, it's an all-purpose rub. I use it on my pork and a little bit on my chicken. I have a rib rub that I use on obviously ribs. And I have a new rub that just came out called the Perfect Storm. It's a buttery chipotle rub. It's a salt, pepper, garlic based, and then with other stuff in there. I use that on beef and brisket, even on some vegetables, just because of that butter flavor in there, which is pretty good. And then my sauce is a kind of a, I don't know, tangy, sweet tangy, a little bit of heat in the back. That pretty much goes on everything.
I know you have some phenomenal products. I hadn't had the Perfect Storm yet. I
Yeah, it
hadn't
just
tried
came
it.
out like this year, so yeah.
So you actually have a cookbook though too, right?
I got a couple, yeah. I got 4 cookbooks.
4?
4, yeah.
I don't think I realized that.
Really? Yeah, I did one over COVID. My last one, hot and fast on the WSM, and that was fun. Did a lot of test cooking at home during COVID, and it was a good opportunity to write a book.
So tell me about that. How does that actually work, writing a cookbook for you?
So
what all goes into that and everything?
It's kind of coming up with an idea for a recipe. You know, having that idea, going out in the backyard, just kind of trying it out. Okay, maybe it just needs a little bit more of this or a little bit more of that, and just try to fine tune it and making it something, you know, that I think people would like. And once you learn that process, it's pretty easy. Every recipe comes with a story, so you have to have like a little introduction. You know, again, once I kind of figured out that whole process, it just kind of rolled, you know.
So you doing all your own writing as well?
Yeah, I had another guy help me. He's a writer. He does a lot of technical writing, so he took a lot of my
What you jammed up like me and
and made it into words people can understand, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I like to think that when I'm writing an email or writing something down that I can understand it, and then she can read it and go, "What is
my
this?"
My wife goes, "What are you doing?" Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, my wife over here, she's a very, she can pick up clerical mistakes. Like, I don't know, it's really strange.
Yeah.
I tell this story too. We entered some products in NBBQA one year,
Yep.
you know, and sent them off. We won a bunch of awards. I think like 12 or 13 awards, right? And this publication out of Chicago says, well, look, here's the publication that we're going to write up for y'all. All you got to do is fill your name in the blanks. It's a standard for everybody. We just need your name. And I said, well, send it to me. Let me see what it says. And we list your accolades out the bottom. And how many mistakes did you find in that? It was like 27 clerical mistakes between just spelling, run-on sentences, adjective, verbs. And I mean, I emailed the lady back and I said, my wife proofread this, and y'all, I think this needs to be redone. And they ended up changing everything, but they were a national company. And I'm telling how many people had sent that out.
And
Yeah, and that's ain't me. I can't.
No,
phones have ruined us from spelling and really, you know, putting
they
up
have,
work.
yeah. And the guy that helped me write it got a lot of compliments from people saying it's like listening to Bill talk. You know, like they hear me as they're reading the recipes and everything, and that's a talent on his end, being able to write it like I'm the one speaking. You know, so that was kind of cool. You know, just to have that.
So how does it work once you write the book and you are doing all the printing yourself and everything?
I had a
You have a company?
Yeah, I had a publisher, Page Street Publishing, up in Salem, Massachusetts. So they had all, like, I would give them the final, they would go over it, proofread it. We had a photographer come out for the photo shoot. They would do all the editing and all the final stuff, and I just have to kind of look it over, make sure that it's how I wanted it, and it was kind of a pretty interesting process.
It sounds like it. I never have been involved with anything like that, but I know other people that have, and I've questioned them about it, and everybody's a little bit different of how they kind of do their things. Some people have ghostwriters. Some people don't. Some people have recipe developers that kind of help them.
Sure. Like I never thought I'd write books, cookbooks. You know, I mean, I'm kind of a self-taught backyard cook. I'm not professionally trained or anything. So people are like, oh, you're gonna write another book? I'm like, well, I've already written almost 300-400 recipes, you know, and it's like, I just don't know if I can dream up or drum up some more recipes for that, other than copying what I've already done, you know? And I
Well,
don't wanna
people
do
don't
that.
realize how hard it is either to steady develop recipes, I'm
Exactly.
afraid, and,
Right.
and to get them right where somebody wants to eat them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can come up with something in our head and write it down here on a piece of paper, but
Yeah.
if it's not executed correctly and tastes good at the end of the day, then
Right.
it's
Yeah.
not going to correlate in your food or your book.
Right. Like, I mean, there could be, I like spicy food. So something that I don't think is all that spicy, somebody else could come along and you know, they're drinking a gallon of milk just trying to tame the heat. And it's just, so, yeah, I mean, I write it to how I like it, you know, most of the time.
So does your wife cook it all at this point? If you've written this many cookbooks and like
Yeah, she does a lot of the baking, like a lot of the,
that
yeah,
seems to be the
and
standard.
I can't do that. Like a lot of the stuff in my book is from her, like the desserts and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And she does a fantastic job. I don't know how she does it, but I can't bake.
I'm not a.
Yeah.
Well, they say you have to follow instructions on
And
baking,
maybe
right?
that's why.
And
right?
most men, you know, are not really used to it. They don't
Right.
take instruction
Yeah,
very
like
well.
building like a cabinet like that. Just throw the directions out and start putting it together.
That's exactly it. Well, we always ask every competition cook,
Yep.
what is the one contest that is just you have to attend every year? That is your one. If somebody recommends and says, "Hey,
Yep.
you know, what's your bucket list
Sure.
contest? What is the one you go to that you love?"
So I'm gonna say there was two. One they don't have anymore. It was the harpoon.
I remember that contest.
Up
I
in
never cooked it,
up
but
in
I remember
Vermont.
it. Yeah.
That was awesome. It's a small little brewery up in Boston and Vermont. They had a satellite brewery, and we get to sell our food. And there was only 35 teams that they would bring in because of the space. But just the sheer amount of people coming up there, it was just a fun time. The other contest is Lake Placid. Dimitri is the organizer. He's an ex-luge guy. So Lake Placid is the home of the 1932 and the 1980 Olympics, and it was held at the Speed Skate Oval from the original Olympics there. And he just does a wonderful job. You meet him for the first time and you're instant family. And yeah, we look forward to that one every year.
I feel like, so his question kind of goes along with another one.
Yeah.
And it may be those same contests for you, but what is the one trophy that either you've already won that's just your favorite trophy, or is there one that you haven't won that you're like, man, that trophy's just so neat and
Yeah.
unique, I have to get that?
There is, yeah. We went to the first time this year, we went to Praise the Lord in Murfreesboro.
Yep.
We was not there. That's one of our
And,
favorites.
Oh man, that apple.
Yep.
That's
Very
coveted.
unique.
And we were that close to getting one this year. We got, I think, second place in wings. First place took the trophy. And
It's gonna be hard to beat BJ.
yeah,
He's
6
won
years
it
running.
every
The
year.
wings.
Yeah,
Yep.
we missed it by about a point. We were that close, you know, but that's kind of the thing we're
Your
looking
one
at.
trophy?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what did you? Not even go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I feel like somebody else had that same answer.
Oh, that's funny.
that,
Yeah.
That was their trophy too.
So with it being your first time at Murfreesboro,
Yep.
tell me your experience.
Oh, that was awesome. So Amy's a wonderful person. She actually has a place a couple towns over from where I live.
Right.
And she opened up a coffee shop in town.
Faye.
Faye, yep.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely exactly from the town that she lives in up my way. It screams that town. Like, it's perfect. It's a nice little quaint coffee shop, incredible coffee, great food. Just the whole vibe was really nice. But the event, I mean, they treat you really well there.
Yeah, they do.
It was awesome. It was just the whole experience.
What do you think about the goodie bags?
Oh my God! Some of the
Not a
best.
bag, it's
Yeah,
a
the
basket.
Yeah.
It takes two people to carry almost.
Yeah, we had to bring a wagon to
Yeah.
put it in to bring it.
Very heavy.
Thankfully, we had the wagon because we were going out to the Royal the following weekend, so we had the wagon
Oh.
for that. And yeah, the baskets are unbelievable.
They are.
Yeah.
10 years ago, when I first started going up there, 12, whatever it was, 10, 11, 12,
Yeah.
they would give a full case of beer,
Yeah.
Wow.
a fifth of whiskey, or
Okay.
some kind of distillery
Yep.
around there, a whole apple or peach pie from an orchard, a bakery.
Oh wow.
And it seemed like a dozen cookies, right?
They still do
Along
the
with
cookies.
the
still do the
apples
It's like
and all
6
that.
cookies.
Yeah.
But
And,
it used to be such.
I always like going there. I love, all their orchards near there. I love their apple butters, and my favorite is
Get
peach
the
butter.
apple
Peach butter.
Oh, I haven't had the peach butter.
Oh,
So
you gotta
one
go.
year they gave peach butter, and that's what kind of hooked me. But no, they don't usually give the peach butter. But if you stop
Yeah.
at one of the
They'll
orchards
probably
near,
have something.
they have it.
Okay,
So
that's
it's
awesome.
good. I mean,
Yeah.
the apple's great too.
Yeah,
But
oh,
I
yeah.
love peach as
Yeah.
well.
And there's actually an Amish community. I went to an Amish store before up there and got fresh sourdough bread and cold cuts.
A little
and,
bit of ways, not too
I think
far.
it's 30 minutes away or
Yeah,
something.
it's not too far.
Nice.
But
There was a great little Mexican restaurant right down the street that Darren and I went to after.
someone on the outskirts of town going to town on the right.
I
Yes.
think we've been there before.
It's good to you.
So we had just finished the contest, and we were in the mood for tacos. I said I could go for tacos, and there's a Taco Bell down the street, and I was looking on Google Maps, and oh wait, there's this little place over here. So we got the burrito tacos, and we got like 8 orders to go, and we got back just in time for awards. So we're just eating the tacos right at awards, and they were some of the best burrito tacos I've had actually.
Wow.
So I don't know
Maybe
if it
it's
was a
better
new item, but not a good experience for you?
When we went on a Saturday night after awards, and it was
Okay.
probably 20 of us in there, and it wasn't a lot of people in there, but the
Yeah.
food was just not.
Just not.
It was just not
Huh.
good.
These were pretty good. I was and Darren was like, yeah, these are pretty good tacos. So I don't know.
We've ordered pizza several times from the pizza place, kind of diagonal from the
I
contest.
saw that. Yeah, was that good?
Really good pizza.
See, we were
I
thinking, we
mean,
were going back and forth on which one to do.
really good. But we've stayed at Carbondale several times. We went up. So we used to
Yeah.
go to a place. What was the name of that place? It was like a pizza place too.
Is that where Fat Bottom Betty's was?
That was it. Fat Bottom Betty's.
It's
is
not
what it
there
was
anymore
called.
though.
Okay.
I don't
It closed
think.
down, but
We
it
did
had
go
really
over
cold
there.
beer and
Okay.
pizzas and
Yep.
all kind of dishes. But we
They
used
had
to carry
pasta,
everybody there.
too.
Pasta. It was really
We
good.
went to a little deli over there for lunch one day. I forget the name. Something Cafe. It was kind of on the main road across from the liquor store. I don't know. It was good. Sandwich was good.
So how many southern states have you cooked in? Well, you've done Illinois, you've done the Murfreesboro. That's
Yep.
not really not a southern state.
Yeah.
Of course, in
here.
Georgia
Yep.
here. You cooked in Florida before.
Florida, Alabama. I don't know if you consider Tennessee the southern, but for me it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't done South Carolina yet. North Carolina, Virginia.
You probably didn't cook in Mississippi, where we're from either, are
I
you?
haven't. No, I've been trying. We're gonna try to do that going forward next year. Scale back on the amount of contests we do and do more destination contests and kind of cook in states that we haven't cooked in before.
We have several. If you take a 2 or 3 week, vacation and you
Yep.
want, to hit several
Yeah,
through.
definitely.
We've got several like that in Mississippi, but I always tell everybody South Haven Spring Fest, kind of in our backyard.
Okay.
It's a dual contest, MB
Oh,
and KCBS.
yeah.
Might give you an opportunity to come
I
cook
was
just
gonna
a
say,
rib.
that's been on my bucket list to do an MBN. I know Murfreesboro had
Yeah,
that, but
that one as
I'm
well.
like, I just want to just.
They need
get
to
my
straighten
feet
out their
wet.
charges first, though, because they
Okay.
make you pay the whole fee for one category, even if you just
I
cook up with
gotcha.
one category. Most of the ones around the house, it's 100 to 125 to 150 per category.
Okay.
So if you only want one ribs,
Yep.
it only costs you 125 bucks.
Yeah, I'd like to dip my feet and see what it's like. I've been wanting to go to Memphis, do Memphis in May.
You should. I tell every good KCBS cook, and you're one of the best out there, Bill.
Thank you.
You're really good.
Thank
And every good KCBS cook, I said, cook your same flavor profile.
Yep.
Cook baby backs
Right.
instead of spares, and
yep.
cook them to the same tenderness as you
Yep.
do your spares. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, if you're carrying them at 206, carry them babies at 206.
That's
Don't
it.
worry about it.
Yep.
Trust me. And every one of them has done that, has ended up really finally out of the gate.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how many people I've helped at Murfreesboro like
Sure.
that. And I've give people my recipes and let them cook it, and then final at Memphis in May, me not
Right.
even final. I mean, I've done that for Pitmaker twice.
Yeah.
I mean, give them recipes,
Right,
cook, and they
right.
run down to my trailer like, we're out of sauce and we final,
Yeah.
we need you, But I love helping people. So
Yeah.
if you ever come that way and need to borrow
Definitely.
equipment
Okay.
or
Appreciate
anything
that.
like that, I've got I think I'm pit poor, is like my wife does to say.
Yeah.
So,
They used to have a MBN event up in New Hampshire.
Yes.
been there, done it,
Okay.
We went
swept
there.
it.
Yeah.
They paid us $1,000 to come up there to that
No kidding.
contest. This was back in the old days. We was cooking with somebody else.
Okay.
We flew up They drove a motorhome.
Well,
up in
even
a trailer.
flying, we had to drive a good ways
Oh,
because
yeah, 'cause
there
you-
wasn't an airport
there
close.
No, I think Manchester, New Hampshire is probably the closest.
But
Yeah.
I won't forget it. What was the name of that team up there that always cooked Memphis style contests? They used to come to Memphis.
They used to come to Memphis in May.
It'd always be at Gay Lakes, Virginia, every year.
He lives in like a.
He always
sea-
brings maple
sea-
syrup and stuff. I can't.
Seabrisket, was that his name?
No, I remember them
Okay.
though.
Did they actually live in Vermont?
Yeah, they lived in
They
Vermont.
lived in
Okay.
They
Vermont,
lived in
but
Vermont.
Okay.
Right
Huh.
across the line though.
yeah.
Huh.
I don't remember their team name, but they used to travel down to Memphis in May and
Yeah.
cooked it every year. That's awful. I should remember.
I know, me too.
But yeah, we went to that contest.
Nice.
It was
Went up there and we swept it. Is where I was going.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
went first place all, first place pork, first place ribs, first place sauce, first place
Wow.
ancillary,
I don't
and
think
then they had
liked us.
promise they pay us $1,000 to show up because they know it's so far for us and all that, and then we didn't have no money then.
Right.
To turn around and sweep that contest, that money, then they turn around and they give us $1,000 cash. That dude was kind of like,
They didn't want to.
Did they
didn't want
ban? Did they ban you the next
I don't
year?
remember. I
I'm
don't
only
think
kidding.
the
Never went back.
contest lasted much longer
Yeah,
that
after
was
that.
the last-
It's been a
honestly.
while since I know. It's too bad because I would go do it now,
Yeah.
being so close to me.
It
Well,
was
it's
a
still
great-
a 4-hour ride.
That's
Great.
probably just not a lot of Indian
No.
interest up that way.
No, not really. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know, but it's definitely I like the format on it. You know.
Have you cooked any other sanctioning bodies besides KCBS?
I've done FBA Florida. I've
Yeah.
done World Food. NEBS, Northeast Barbecue Society.
Yeah.
They do more of like a 4-meat grilling events.
Mm-hmm.
They do it could be anything. It could be pizza, it could be salmon, it could be dessert, it could be burger, wings, whatever. It's just 4 different.
Huh,
really?
Interesting.
Yeah,
so they change it up.
They change it up. Yeah, it's not always the 4 the same. We used to have an
fun.
event in March called the Snowshoe, and it kind of kicked off our season. And one of the staples was a sausage fatty. That was always the guy that organized it loved sausage fatty. So he's like, okay, we're gonna make sausage fatty a category, you know. And yeah, it was always fun to do. It was like a 1-day event.
So did you know beforehand what they were going to be,
Yes,
or did you
yeah.
find out
No,
when you showed
yeah,
up?
you knew beforehand, yeah. So you could practice a little bit and stuff.
So do you do any of the SCA events too?
We do, yeah. Not too many. It's starting to get a little bigger up our way, and they're fun. You know, it's just
The rumor has it they're going to be doing more 1-day events. They're going to do a rib association and a chicken wing association.
I've been
And,
hearing that. Yeah.
what's your thought on KCBS 2 days versus the SCA 1-day events? What is your whole?
You mean like a double KCBS?
No, I
or-
mean like KCBS taking you 2 days to cook it, set up, and do and all that, versus pulling in on a Saturday morning at an event like an SCA, and you
Sure.
set up and cook ribs
Right,
and all,
right.
and then you roll out that day.
It'd be interesting. I mean, I think you'd be a little more rested, you know, because I mean, right now I'm exhausted.
I know.
And we've done doubles. We've even done triples. Where you're doing,
Yeah, I've done a triple, too.
3 KCBS in a row, and that's just the 3rd day. You're just running through the motions. You're like, okay, is this over?
I done one where you did turn-in boxes the same time Randall
did the
did. You
same
turned in 2
thing.
chicken boxes same time, 2 rib, 2 pork, 2
Yep.
brisket
We
on
did
Saturday.
Polar Pig in North Carolina did that a couple of years ago, and that was rough.
That'd make a man out of you real quick.
Yeah, it's funny. You turn on the same pork, and we got first place in one, and then like 32nd in the other.
That's
The
how it
same
goes.
pork.
It shows you how subjective it is,
It
because I
really
cooked the
does.
same brisket. I remember I took
Yep.
8 slices out of the same brisket, put in
Yep.
this box, and 8 slices,
Yep.
you know, and put it in this box over here. You got one of them scoring in top and one of them in the bottom, and
Yep.
every category's like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's strange.
It
Isn't
just goes to show you it's really luck of the draw. You got to hit the
Absolutely.
right tables.
Yep, definitely.
For sure. Well, Bill, I just want to tell you thank you for coming on and shooting the Que with us today.
Absolutely.
We
Yeah,
always love catching up with other industry people.
Sure.
And you're one of the best. And being
Oh,
from up, we
thank
don't
you.
get to see you a lot.
I
We know you
know.
have good products. And I didn't know you had 4 cookbooks. I'm going to have to pick up the other ones.
Okay.
I have one on my shelf of yours. I did
Okay.
not realize you had 4.
Yeah.
Maybe I can talk you into maybe autographing a
I'd
copy
be
for
happy
me one of these
to.
days.
Absolutely, would be happy to. Yeah,
Well-
thanks for having me on. It's always good to see you guys. Hope to see you up my way sometime if you want.
I hope so.
I'm-
I hope so.
I need a Boston trip.
Yeah.
I do too. Again,
Sounds good.
for sure. Well, thanks,
Cool.
Bill.
Thank you. Appreciate
We'll see you
it.
down the road, man.
Sounds good. All right.
Thank you for tuning in to the Shootin The Que podcast. you have any comments or suggestions for future episodes, please feel free to reach out to us on our social media channels or through our website. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Leave us a review if you enjoyed the show. Until next time, keep shooting the Que.